You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today on our Weight Loss Wednesday show, I'm excited to not only talk about how you can improve your weight loss without really changing any of your nutrition, without changing your exercise, but also I want to talk to everybody that as we age, it's just that much more challenging no matter who you are to stay leaner, to kind of keep the belly fat off, to make sure that your muscles are staying more toned and all of those specific things. And yes, that can come from exercise. It can come from actually moving less and sitting more, all of those things. But I want to talk about that there's actually scientific research, and it's been going on for quite some time. We'll say since the beginning of time, right? So before we had all of these very scientific double-blind placebos and being able to publish in things like PubMed and all these great things, we knew this. We knew this from the beginning of time. We knew that soil-based bacteria and a lot of good bacteria was needed to help with our own gut and keep our gut balanced. And right now what they found is that if you're having a difficult time keeping the weight off, even if it's 10, 15 pounds, or maybe it's 100 pounds, then it's even more severe, or as we age, how things can change in our gut. So now what are we talking about? We're talking about bacteria in the gut. Those are what we call our good bacteria versus our negative or bad bacteria, and I'm doing that in air quotes. And by bad bacteria, I don't actually mean that it's not supposed to be there because, for the most part, we are supposed to have some of these negative strains that we hear about that are bad for us, right? But only bad when they're overgrown. Meaning like when Candida overgrows, it's a bad thing. When E. coli overgrows, it's a bad thing. When strep overgrows, it's a bad thing. But, these types of bacteria are always in our system. It's the overgrowth of those things that crowds out the good bacteria. We get something called gut dysbiosis, and that's where I want to start today. Gut dysbiosis just means an imbalance. And right now, what they're finding, this is actually in 3 different studies. Now, not just animal studies. This is in human studies as well, which is considered the gold standard because even though animal studies do matter, right? They do matter. Human studies, if we can do that, then that absolutely proves that there is an issue with what we're looking at right now, which is gut bacteria from overweight people or obese people versus what they're calling, again, in air quotes, normal weight people. By normal weight, what we're really doing is we're looking at BMI. And I know BMI is not the end-all, be-all, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it is. However, I am saying for 98% of the population, it does hold pretty true. Now, you might be at the top end of the BMI if you are an endomorph, but you're still in great shape. I totally understand that. And there are a few people who are going to fall outside of it, maybe like a bodybuilder or a powerlifter or something like that. They have lower body fat, but their BMI is higher. And there's just a few people, true ectomorphs, where if their BMI is below it, then they're actually still healthy as well. But we don't want too low BMI, all right? So today we're focused on the normal weight. We're trying to focus on how we can actually change our gut bacteria in order to lose weight more naturally, again, without having to change anything else. So what these studies showed was that there are 2 main, we'll call them families of bacteria in the gut, Bacteroides and Firmicutes. And these, that's a mouthful, but those 2 types of bacteria, when they're in balance, we're more able to lose the weight and keep the weight off. But what happens is when they become imbalanced, there actually is very, very great research right now showing that the more Firmicutes there are, that the more people are prone to gain weight. So much so that they did this in lab rats. Obviously, they couldn't do this in humans, right? But they did in lab rats. What they did was they took this Firmicutes family of bacteria and they actually put it inside the guts, meaning like the intestines, of lean mice. And you know what happened? Those mice actually became overweight with nothing else changed. That's the amazing thing. Nothing changed. I always talk about controlling variables. That's why when people meet with me in my practice, or over Skype, whatever it might be. I say, we're going to create a control over 21 days. That's our control. We're going to get you feeling well. We're going to get you reducing those symptoms so that you're on your road to getting well. Like, that's the thing. A lot of people, and again, there's a lot of gurus out there where you're like completely fixed in just a week or two. No, you absolutely can get rid of your symptoms, but there's more work to be done. You just have to get it down to a deeper level. However, what I say is that's our control those first 3 weeks. And then we can start to add other things in and say, okay, does this work? Yes or no? But we're always controlling it for just one variable. So this is the interesting thing. Firmicutes that there were, the mice were in terms of keeping the weight off. So how can that absolutely holds for us some new research, some new science that will allow us to say, okay, now that we know this, we have to reduce that type of bacteria and add more in of the good bacteria. And I'm going to try to keep this really simple because the science is somewhat complex, but we are going to keep it super simple. And at the end, I'm going to give you recommendations that are so easy to do that you can be like, oh, okay, so all I have to do is swallow this pill. Yes, like you're just going to take the good probiotics if you choose to, of course, right? That's always your choice. It's something that I choose to do. I choose to recommend in my practice because it's safe, they're natural, they've always been around. And what happens is we get stuck in a society where we're taking Advil and NSAIDs, ibuprofen, we're taking antibiotics, we're taking types of birth control, we're using chlorine in our water, we're using artificial sweeteners, we have a lot of stress, improper food combining, we use gluten. Remember, all of those things I just named really create gut dysbiosis, and they remove a lot of the good bacteria, bad as well, but then what happens is the bad bacteria is allowed to start to overgrow. That is how we get gut issues. And remember, most, if not all, autoimmune issues and most of the issues going on right now in a Western-based society have to do with gut-based issues and inflammation. It's the truth. And they're showing now that same gut-based issue is leading to inflammation in the brain. And guess what? We have a rise of dementia. We have a rise of Alzheimer's. We have a rise of all of these other things that even satiety. So when you're looking at like, when I eat food, I'm just never satisfied. Well, that also has to do, they're finding with certain hormones like GLP-1. Like that's a really important one that says, okay, are you going to store body fat or not? Leptin and ghrelin, all these things matter. Certain probiotics right now are shown to increase this specific protein called ANGP TL4. Again, another mouthful, and that's just giving you the code for it. But that allows you to decrease fat storage. Like all of these things are very, very important. You don't need to know how they work. But what I want to tell you is this. They're finding that certain strains of the Lactobacillus family, which is just a type of small intestinal bacteria for the most part, when people during this 12-week study took certain types of this Lactobacillus strain, they lost 50% more weight. I mean, that's amazing. Again, I'm not a proponent of saying there is a magic weight loss pill because there's not. There is not. You will never hear me say that. You'll never see me promote weight loss supplements. Will I promote things that help reduce inflammation? Absolutely. Will I promote things that are these good strains of bacteria? Absolutely, because those are being a benefit to people. And I am not a marketer. I can't stand when people just say like, oh, look at this. It's the wonder drug. It's the silver bullet. There's no silver bullet. It's about balancing the body. When the body's back in balance, it's the thing. It's the one that actually creates the change. It does it for you. All of these, again, board-certified naturopathic doctor, specialties in Ayurvedic medicine, functional medicine, all those things. I spend my nights and lunches and all those things reading and looking at research. I still believe that all I do is try to set up the environment to allow the body to do what it innately knows best. There's no way that myself or any other doctor can say, hey, I know what's best for your body. We're going to do this. That's why I'm so afraid of all these things that we do with these medications that just came out over the last year or two. We don't have 40, 50 years of studies really on any medication. There's not too many that have been shown. And antibiotics that go maybe that far back, they're all being shown to have negative effects right now. And hopefully, and MDs are definitely doing this, are prescribing them less and less. So, all right, tirade rant is over. Let's get back. So what I want to do is I want to share with you right now some strains that will absolutely, you can check your probiotics, and then I'll give you a recommendation for one at the end that literally costs you $1 per day for the probiotic. I mean, you can't get a better deal than that for sure. If you're trying to find one, again, it's probably not a good third-party tested one. So there's one strain that's really, really kind of head and shoulders above a lot of the others, and that's because right now, there are over 7 studies on it. Okay, so it's this strain called Lactobacillus gasseri. So gasseri is spelled Gasseri. Gasseri, it's some people pronounce, but it's like Reuteri. It has that I at the end. And What it is, it shows the most promise right now. Again, nothing works in isolation. You certainly wouldn't want to use this like you would a drug, but it should be part of an overall good probiotic. No one's really taking a single strain of Lactobacillus gasseri. What you're doing is you're taking it as part of an overall good probiotic in Lactobacillus-based family. And so what they're showing, though, is by all of those people who took this specific type of probiotic, they watched their actual fat mass, they call it. So basically their body fat decreased by, so their average weight loss was, again, about another 2.5 pounds extra in a very, very short amount of time, 4-week study, than the other group. So one group lost 5 pounds in a week from using this probiotic strain, and another group lost about 2.8 with other probiotics. So still, it makes a big difference. And again, probiotics in general absolutely do work. What I have to do is I have to warn you against just trying to get them in yogurt, because yogurt itself can be such an inflammatory food. If you've heard me talk about my food sensitivity testing before, I do hundreds of food sensitivity testing from an IgG perspective. That means it doesn't always cause the bloating and the gas. People think they can eat it. What happens is on an IgG test, you can do this right at home just by poking your finger. If you just go to the StephenCabral.com/store, you'll see this test. Literally, blood spot test. It's an amazing test, and you can actually find out your food sensitivities. I found through looking at hundreds of these that dairy is actually the number one, and that includes so-called healthy things like yogurt. So think twice about using a yogurt to try to get your probiotics. Plus, there's typically like maybe 1 billion in there, and that's only at time of testing, and that's not after it goes through shipping and heating and all of those things. Okay, so what's my recommendation today? Let's keep this simple. Let's keep it back on track. Here are some of the strains that I want you to look for, because not only do they help with what we call weight management, because we can't say weight loss. I don't even know if that's legal to say, right? So let's just talk about weight management and healthy weight, because that's really what we want. We want to use this as part of an overall protocol. I don't want people eating pizza and, fatty processed food every day of the week and then just trying to take a probiotic. That's not my goal. That's not what we're after here. And that's just, crazy marketing. So what I want to say is, in addition to a good, healthy exercise and nutrition protocol and, using the morning smoothie like I talk about, try to add some of these strains. Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus plantarum, Lactobacillus gasseri. Like, those are some of the main ones I would love you to get. There are a few others. So I use a specific product. You can look at it. It's called Daily Probiotic Support. It is, in my opinion, I sell it for the least I can, because I'm just trying to get this product out to people. I don't even call it a weight loss product. It is for intestinal dysbiosis, so it helps rebalance your gut bacteria, and it has those strains that have been shown to improve metabolism, meaning boost metabolism, help with natural fat loss. And again, if you're at a good healthy weight, well, it's only going to help maintain that. That's what it's all about. And if you're overweight, it's going to help with that as well. So it's called Daily Probiotic Support. You know what? Just go to StephenCabral.com/store. You'll find it in there. It's under the nutritional supplements called Daily Support column, and just look at the strains. You don't have to get that one if it doesn't feel like it's the right fit for you. I have no problem with that. What I want you to do is take a look at those strains. When you see those strains, you can say, oh, does my probiotic have this? Yes or no? And you'll notice that most of them are the Lactobacillus family, and the reason is you need more of those. If you're putting it in through the mouth, you need more of the small intestinal-based strains, because that's where it's going to hit first, rather than the bifidobacterium strains. So I work so much with the gut in my practice. It's the foundation of my practice. It's really where true healing takes place. And when you realize that 80% of the immune system is located right outside that gut wall, 29 feet of intestinal tract and stomach and mucosa and all that, you'll know that that is the place to start. So hopefully this episode helped. Really enjoy these types of episodes. If you like getting into a little bit of the science like we did today, let me know. Just go to StephenCabral.com/Ask Cabral. And of course, on that page too, I'm always happy to answer your questions. And maybe you have another question on other types of probiotics, and of course, I'm happy to answer those as well. Have a great day, everyone, and if this episode could help anyone else, please do feel free to share it with them. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.